Welcome back to another episode of Warren Cali. In this episode, I'm going to detail the story of an innocent college student who lost her life. Kebret Tekle was born on October 3rd, 1986, and grew up in Union City in the Bay Area. She was described by her family as a high-spirited and vibrant person. She was passionate about life and compassionate towards others. She made friends everywhere she went, and she could brighten up any room with her smile and her laugh. She was fiercely loved and loved fiercely. Kebret graduated in 2004 from James Logan High School, located in Union City. During high school, she was a member of several clubs and teams. She always was known for doing great in school. By 2007, Kebret was excelling as a sophomore journalist. She was also a part of a black sorority and also a part of a committee chair for the National Pan Council. On the night of May 2nd, 2007, Kebret and several of her friends were at a bar that was often visited by young adults and college students. Many people were in attendance that night, from college students to gang members, and some of the most known gangs in the city of Sacramento were in attendance that night, and they just happened to be rivals. The Oak Park Bloods are one of the most notorious gangs and hoods in the city of Sacramento, along with one of their top rivals at the time, who were just referred to as G-Mob, and both had members in attendance that night. By this time, both gangs had bad blood. Fights, shooting, and violence was a normal occurrence between the two. Now going into the late hours of May 2nd, 2007, going to May 3rd, an altercation would occur. A Oak Park member named David would get into an altercation with a G-Mob member in a bar, which the Oak Park members would try to jump the G-Mob member, and a fight ensued. This led to bouncers at the bar kicking both sides out. On the outside of the bar, the G-Mob member tried to get away in his car, but he would try to run over the Oak Park members, including David, with his car. Witnesses and police say that David then fired at the car. Kebret, by this time of a little past midnight, was sitting in her car. She was unaware of everything that was going on. Kebret was hit by a stray bullet on May 3rd, 2007, as she sat in her car in the parking lot of the Library Eats and Drinks Bar, which was located on Folsom Boulevard, just behind Sac State's campus. She was shot in the head by David's stray bullet. The Sacramento Police Department said that the department received calls about the shooting, which was located across the university's Folsom Boulevard entrance around 12:58 a.m. After a dispute inside the bar moved into the parking lot. Witnesses said several gunshots were fired, and Kebret, who police described as an innocent bystander, was struck in the head while in her car. Witnesses at the bar later stated they remembered a fight with about 3 men the night of the shooting. As security at the bar broke up the fight, the witnesses said people headed towards the windows. Shortly later, the witness said she ran out of the bar and saw a black man crouching by a car, then shooting followed. The alleged shooters were from Oak Park, and many people at the scene would give police a description of the shooter. In honor of Kebret, over 200 students attended a candlelight in celebration of her life, which was held at Sac State's campus. She was spoken upon highly by several students and teachers. The shooter was later identified as David. David, who was 23 at the time of the shooting, was a known criminal. In 2004, David pleaded no contest to a misdemeanor count of selling alcohol to a minor, and David's list of crimes would continue. David became jealous in January of 2005 when he came home to see his girlfriend and saw another man inside the home. With his hands wrapped in a sweater, David broke 3 windows of his girlfriend's car and also bent 2 of her front doors. The victim's sister later said that David threatened her and said he had a gun. David was charged in 2005 for a domestic assault and threat to kill his girlfriend. However, 2 misdemeanor counts of threat to kill and damage to a car were dismissed in August of 2005. In January of 2007, David was enrolled in an 18-month drug diversion program for possession of cocaine. David later pled no contest in February of 2007 on the second count of possession of weed, but that was later dismissed. In David's most recent case, prior to the murder, David was sentenced to 3 years of probation and 30 days in a sheriff work project after pleading no contest to a misdemeanor charge of battery. According to police statements, David slapped the female victim 6 times, punched her in the stomach, and kicked her in her leg, after an hour-long conversation that went bad in March of 2007, which was at the woman's home. David then, according to the police, broke the woman's bathroom window before leaving in the woman's car, which he returned 30 minutes later in. He began ripping out speakers out the car and also a stereo, and just overall tearing up the car. A second charge of damaging property was later dismissed against David. Earlier in the year, according to court records, David became violent at the victim's sister's home again. With a record like that, many thought he should have already been serving time in jail, and shouldn't have even been on the streets to commit the murder. During his trial, David was facing a 50 years to life sentence, which he would plead innocent. His lawyer argued this was not about gang ties. Instead, the fight was over a woman. At trial, Kebret's father said David's actions were acts of terrorism. You don't have to live in Afghanistan or Pakistan to terrorize students. That's what this guy did. People like him, even though they are here in the courtroom, it's amazing how they can terrorize students at a high school level, at an elementary school level, and at a college level. This cannot be tolerated. I wish he could see what he pushed my family to see, and that's our daughter lying in a coffin. That's what I wish I could see of him. David's trial will last 3 years. Over the years, more murders between G-Mob and Old Park would occur, and the DA would use this as an example of why this incident happened, with the war still going on and getting even worse, with more violence in that 3-year span. A list of incidents between the two gangs were even mentioned in the trial. David was sentenced to 21 years in prison, which he is now 41. His earliest parole date was 2022, but he was denied parole. Kebret was a young college student with a bright future ahead of her, who lost her life for no reason, just being in the crossfire of a gang war she had nothing to do with and didn't even know about. RIP to her. This will conclude this episode. If you haven't already, check out my previous episodes. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe.